Question 1 on simplify. We are looking at multiplying algebraic expressions. There's several very important things we must remember. First of which is the invisible times. In algebra, we often leave out the times. So 7x means 7 times x, and we must always remember that that 7 is basically a multiply. First one, we can just simply leave out the times between the v and the 7x, and we could write v7x, but the convention is to always put the number at the front, so we write it as 7vx. The next most important thing to remember is that we are balancing equations. What we've got on one side, we've got to have on the other. So the number bit has to balance and the letter bit. And with this type of expression, what we do is we multiply the numbers, but effectively we're adding the letters. So if we look at the 7c times 4e, 7 times 4, 28. But then we just add the letters. So we've got to have CE because we've got 1C on one side, we've got 1E on one side, so we've got to have 1C, 1E on the other side. Next one, 7 times 2 is 14. But I've got 2 A's on the left-hand side, I've got to have 2 A's on the right-hand side. We don't write it as AA, we write it as A squared. If we had 3 A's on one side, we'd need 3 A's on the other, and we'd write that as A cubed. A bit further down, look at the 7mn times 8m squared n. 7 times 8 is 56. Then we look at the m's. 7m, I've got 1m there. 8m squared, I've got 2m's there. So I must have 3 m's on the right-hand side, which we write as m cubed. 7mn, I've got an n there. 8m squared n, I've got another n. So I must have 2 n's on the right-hand side. So to balance it, I've got to have 56 m cubed m squared. The questions on the right-hand side are a bit trickier. It's sort of, what is the missing bit? On the right-hand side of the first one, we got 21 mm. So really, we can see we've got a 3m to start with. So we go, 3 times what gives me 21? It's got to be 7. Then we look at the letters. I've got 1m on the right-hand side. I can see 1m on the left-hand side. I don't need to add any more. But I can see that I've got 1n on the right-hand side, so I must add that to balance it. So I end up with 3m times 7n equals 21mn. Come down to the last one, which is fairly complex, but if we look at it in bits, to make the 16 on the right-hand side, I've got to do 8 times 2. So I've got to have an 8 in my little box. I've got 3 A's on the right-hand side because there's an A cubed, only 1 A on the left-hand side. So I've got to have 8A squared to balance that bit. I've got 3 C's on the right-hand side. I can only see 2 on the left-hand side. I've got to add another one. So that makes it 8A squared C. Then finally, I've got to check the E's out. I've got 3 E's on the right-hand side. Oh, but I can see 3 E's on the left-hand side, so I don't need to add any more. So if we look at it in total, 8A squared C times 2AC squared E cubed actually equals 16A cubed C free E free. Now, have a go at this yourself. It's fairly straightforward, and hopefully you will master this skill very quickly. Thank you.